Jesus again addresses his disciples, not with another parable, this time with fact. Here's the bottom line. The king is gathering the nations, and like a shepherd, he will separate them, sheep from goats. It's really important to note, though, that Jesus is not saying that the king would separate the sheep from the wolves. In other words, the good from the bad. No, he said sheep from goats. The good from, well, those who think they're good. There's no doubt all of us here want to be counted among the sheep. Not true? Yes? Because certainly being a goat would have disastrous consequences. And I have to wonder if there might not be more goats among us than we would care to admit. And, of course, this is why, as I said at the end of my homily last week, being a disciple is no joking matter. Because this gospel and last week's parable of the talents is being addressed to the disciples, remember, that would be the 12, and all those others, men and women who followed Jesus, we have to look at this instruction from that perspective of being a disciple. And specifically, a disciple is a student, a learner, a follower of Jesus in the Christian sense. A disciple is one who truly seeks to do the things that Jesus did, to do the things that Jesus said. A disciple is one who loves God, who loves neighbor, and a disciple also brings others into discipleship. If we are to be counted among the sheep, we must be authentic disciples. We must become conscious, think about it, intentional, from your heart, followers of Jesus. And of course, the story goes that the sheep will be separated from the goats, and you may want to know what makes up a goat. Those who think that they are good, those who think that the things that they have done are good things. And in fact, they very well may be good people, and in fact, they very well may have done good things for others. But really, those deeds are done for themselves. Those things are done with selfish motives. What am I going to get out of it? How will this benefit me? And sadly, they might not even consciously recognize that that's their underlying attitude. If we were to say that the sheep are like disciples, then I think a good way to describe the goats is that they are consumers. Consumers. We're all consumers. We go to the store and we get what we want. And we really don't have much concern about anyone else. You know, that's typical of consumers. Consumers find what they like and they stick to it. Once they are convinced that a product is good and worthy of their money, their time, their effort, they will always go back to that place to get what they want, to that place that will serve their wants. I go to this store and not that store because this store gives me what I want, that one doesn't. I did a little research in preparing for my homily on this word consumer, and I found that it comes from the same Old English word that is used for squanderer. Interesting, huh? Now, lest you think that we must only be concerned about being sheep or being a goat, there is a third group in this gospel story that plays a very important role that we ought to also be concerned about. Because this third group are the ones who are being helped or not by the sheep or the goats. These are the least of the king's brothers and sisters. I was thinking, who are the least in the eyes of the king? Of course, I went back looking at the scriptures that we have for today and to the first reading from the book of the prophet Ezekiel, and I think that this is the answer. Ezekiel says, "The lost I will seek out, the strayed I will bring back, the injured I will bind up, the sick I will heal." I think that the least in God's kingdom are the lost, the strayed, the injured, the sick. Frankly, those who live in our community who are not here. They're not here with us today or any day, and they're not here because they do not know and have had no one tell them that here they are found, here they can be healed, and here they can be made whole. I have over the past even few days, months, and years, met many people right here within the boundaries of our parish, which is very large, by the way. Many people who do not know what difference church can make in their lives. They don't know because no one has told them. And why is that? Well, because for them, church has never been really a warm, welcoming, come on in, have a seat, safe, secure kind of place. It's never been for them a place of rest. In fact, their experience of church has been woefully lacking. They've encountered more goats than sheep. After St. Peter finished preaching his first sermon on that first Pentecost, you remember that sermon where all the different people from the different nations gathered and heard Peter speak in their own tongue. At the end of that sermon, the people in the crowd asked Peter, "What are we to do?" Of course, his response was, "Repent and be baptized." All of you certainly here today have been baptized. Maybe we need to go to confession. But I think if St. Peter were here today, he might say this: be authentic disciples. Authentic disciples love God. They love their neighbor, and they make other disciples. They minister to the needs of those who are lost and strayed, injured and sick. They seek to make church an experience where everyone has a place to sit. Authentic disciples, then, are not satisfied merely with sitting in the pews, expecting to be waited upon. You see, the arresting thing about this whole gospel lesson is that Jesus is clearly saying that the ultimate mark of an authentic disciple is not his creed or his faith or his knowledge of the Bible, but the concern, and that concern put into action, that he shows to all of those who are lost. And when we do this, when we become authentic disciples, then we can be assured that we will hear the words of the King. "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." And aren't those words what we really want to hear from God? And God bless you today.